5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right, happy Mondays. Happy Monday. What is it today? 13th of July. 1 week before the damn school shut for the summer vacation, which is going to be fabulous. It's going to be, I'm sure it's going to be marvellous. Expensive, but marvellous. So, and in Sussex at the moment, the weather has stopped being baking like we're in the middle of Chad or somewhere. And it's sunny, but we've got a nice cooling breeze, darlings. A lovely cooling breeze, which has made a hell of a lot of difference. Hello, sweetheart. Hello, darling. I knew you'd be here. So I thought start off today talking about what should we do first. I think really out of respect and for public information only, we should discuss poor old Anne Widdecombe. They seem to have picked somebody up. Hello, Hippity. Good morning, darling. Just talking about Anne update. They seem to have picked up a man in Rotherham, which is the northeast, isn't it? Northeast, I'm sure. Well, it's sort of northeasterly from where she was on Dartmoor. Was it Dartmoor? Wherever it was, Devon. Yeah. And they seem to have had him on next door's camera, leaving his house on Wednesday. Yeah, I am, babe. We all are. It's horrible. Leaving his home on Wednesday, and you can clearly see a wooden cudgel on his being. Let's just say. But the thing is, the Poe have been saying all along that they know it's not terror related, but it's like I said in my post. I think they're being somewhat circumspect with the linguistics of that statement because they don't know that. If they don't know, then they don't know. And terror events and crimes aren't always, to do with foreign factions. Let's just say foreign factions. Sometimes, well, all the time we have our own, every country has their own perceived domestic terror, radicalised nut fruit jobs. This lad seems awful weak. Bonnie Tyler and now Sam Neill has passed. Yeah, that is sad. And Dermot Murnahan, the newsreader. I think he was Sky. Or was he BBC? He might have been. It's hard to tell. But he's been around forever. He passed away. Then you had Mr. Lindsay in America. Graham Lindsay, is it? Lindsay Graham? Something like that. No one cares. I mean, obviously care he's passed, but he seems to have come back from the Ukraine, darlings, and promptly passed away. We don't know. Yes, Dermot. Yeah, Bonnie. I did do a little thing for poor old Bonnie. Apparently she was ill and she went into a coma and never recovered from the coma, is what little insight I've gleaned from that. That's only on social media. But going back to Anne. So, yeah, it seems that this man has travelled down, and they're not looking for anybody else, by the way. So, it's probably a slam dunk. They've probably got his number plate, and they've tracked it by all the cameras, like you can do nowadays, from his hometown to Anne village. And then at some point, he was probably seen on Ring doorbell cameras. She had a Ring doorbell camera, but did he have a hood up? We don't know. He might have put his hood up, which would have been strange because Wednesday was absolutely baking. But for whatever reason, the whole thing is a bit strange. Yes, it is, babe. For whatever reason, he seemed to have access to the house. Whether she just naively went to answer the door, and then he pushed his way in, we don't know. It's all conjecture at the moment. It's all speculation. But, yeah, it's been very moving to see all the tributes that have been done to Anne. There's a wonderful song that I posted up on my community page that I found on TikTok from a young lady that just makes up lyrics and songs, and it was very, very good, very apt, and very down to earth and very Anne. So basically the essence of the song was you don't have to agree with somebody to admire and respect them, which is true. I don't know why I'm even having to explain this, but we all know that as well. So it's called being an adult, you see, being a proper adult and not a psychopath. Let's just say psycho bloody path. But yeah, people can have different opinions, and it doesn't mean you want to hurt them. either metaphorically, physically, actually, emotionally, mentally, whatever. You can just like think, let them get on with it. That's their vibe. Let them carry on. And also, someone can have a different opinion. You don't have to respect the person. It's not a given. Yes, he's the King's Guard, played a tune in respect. I saw that. I put it up on my post. Were you on TikTok? Yeah, didn't they play Give Me a Man After Midnight? Give me a man after midnight. It wasn't Total Eclipse. It wasn't Total Eclipse. Oh, I must have a look at that. That sounds really nice. Yeah, there's quite a lot of really nice tributes going around the place. But then conversely, which I haven't looked at, I'm given to believe, and it's being reported in the mainstream, that there's equally just as many horrible, vicious, rotten, not very nice, narcissistic, malignant nut jobs and radicalised Fruit Loops that think everybody wants to know their negative, horrible opinions. Rather like what a certain creator wrote about Wally after she passed, when she could have said nothing. I mean, basically, I don't know whether anybody's ever heard this saying, but when I was young, I was always told that all adults used to say, if someone hasn't got anything nice to say, don't say anything. You see, that might be a thing. And whilst obviously that wouldn't necessarily always apply to me, darling, but in the event that somebody's been moidered or deceased, it's probably not very nice to take to the, what do they call it? The superhighway, technological superhighway, to splash your opinions everywhere that, to be fair, no one wants to hear. No one wants to hear. No one cares. Think it in your own head. That's down to you. Write it on a bit of paper. That's down to you. But you don't have to put it all over social media. It's disrespectful. And not only that, this lady's got family. From what I can gather, her brother, I always thought he was a bishop. For some reason, I had it in my head that he was a bishop. Because I'd heard of him. I can't remember his first name, but his name, obviously his surname, was Widdicombe, which is kind of a rare name. And because she was in the public eye, I always married up the two and assumed they were brother and sister. But apparently he wasn't. He was an Anglican priest, or an Anglican vicar that then became a priest. But as far as I know, he was married. Not sure of the logistics or the actualities of that, but it's something like that. I know she converted to Catholicism. I saw Jacob Rees-Mogg, he did a lovely eulogy to her. Mike Graham, poor old Mike Graham, was crying. Alex, what's her name from TV, he had a little sob. There's quite a few female. Oh, Liz Truss broke into tears. It's just, no, you know? It's one thing, she's 78, yeah, maybe she passed away or something like that had happened. I hoped in her sleep without knowing anything about it. But then to come to such an ignominious end to a splendiferous life. And I've seen a movement, I think it was on Mike Graham's show, saying, do you think Anne should maybe have a statue or maybe have a plaque put up to her somewhere, or do you think she should be posthumously bestowed a dame? And obviously I acted for that, Alex Phillips Gerty, I love her. Yeah, I like Alex. She likes Nigel as well. She liked him quite a lot a few years ago, darlings. Anyway, let's not go there. But no, she's. I like. Not. I like genuine emotion when it's called for, but someone that just bursts into tears like that, dumb Rachel Reeves on the front bench. Shut up. Not interested. She's just probably pissed off that she's lost a house or something. I've only got 4 houses left. Start crying. It's because she knows the cameras are in Parliament. Everyone's going to feel sorry for her. Listen, love, if you take the heat, bitch, get out the kitchen. You don't sit and snivel. I'm with Anne on that, yeah? I liked Anne. I respected her. I admired her. Sometimes I didn't agree with her, but I got her. Maybe because I was brought up by that generation, that era. And in fact, older than that. My granny was like an Edwardian. But, yeah. So ethics, principles, morals, and respect for other people's opinions, and also she was educated. Yes, and she was a very good debater and gave brilliant speeches. And this is another bête noire of mine I'm going to share with you. I'm going to have a drink of water before I do it. I've still got my fan on though. I've had to put my fan on because it gets a bit claggy. Yeah, I've always had, as I say, this bête noire that I turn off immediately, doesn't matter, it's social media, mainstream media, or anywhere I am, yeah, when somebody who professes to need to give you a speech, and the speech, the very hint of the fact that they are giving a speech, one would have assumed that they knew their stuff and they knew their business of what they were bequeathing you or vociferously expounding upon you, whether you like Alex Gerty Lover, whether you want to know or not. So one little thing that's always wound me up, and I've got to say with royalty as well, all royalty, is when somebody thinks to assume that they're going to tell you stuff and stand on a stage with a microphone or a plinth or whatever and give a speech. They need notes. They need notes. I've always found the truest and realest people, and the people that really were on their game, could just get up and speak because they know what they're on about. They don't need bloody notes. They don't need somebody to write them a speech. They know what they're talking about. So, and Anne was in that category. Anne was in that category. I think old Trump's like that as well. Sadly, the royals aren't. That's quite annoying. It's always been a little, you know. You could argue with them that they've got busy lives. Yeah, but even so, sorry. You know, maybe know your brief. And you're rather making a few worthy comments than standing sort of, pontificating almost. And John Peterson does it as well. He's one that can just stand up and give a speech and he knows what he's on about. Farage to an extent. Starmer, no. No, Tony Benn, he could do it. Liz Truss holds her own very well. Kemi Badenoch holds her own very well. But what I'm saying is when they've got a camera in the face and a microphone and people ask them something, they don't and butt and try to avoid answering it because they don't really know what they're being asked. You'll find that they've got an opinion. Might not be one you agree with, but you've asked for their opinion or someone's asked for their opinion and now they're giving it. And obviously Anne came in that category. Yes, you didn't have to agree with her, but she was such an admirable character, an admirable lady. From what I've heard of the suspect, something to do with veterans. I mean, don't quote me on it, but it was coming out on mainstream, albeit on YouTube, but it was mainstream sources like Sky. I think it was the Times or the Guardian, one of the something like that, because all the mainstream media are up there, and apparently, I heard a TikTok journalist that was getting a really hard time from them because he actually lived there. I mean, he lived, I think he said about 4 streets away, so it was easy for him to be on the scene filming, and he was just thrown away. They're like, get away, and they were really quite nasty to him, snidey, snipey, snarky. You know, we're better than you. We are the mainstream. Do not speak to us. Don't address us. And so they were quite, snobby. But he was reporting stuff, but he wasn't reporting anything like the mainstream. The mainstream did seem to have their, ear to the, if you know what I mean, ear to the ground better. And I think the mainstream have got more gravitas to go and knock on neighbours' doors and ask, like people do, or maybe the houses opposite, so that they could get some sort of idea of who the chap was. Whereas probably a TikToker with an iPhone, you're going to get, told to piss off, aren't you? I don't know. Maybe that's it. But they were snobby and horrible. So, yeah, Mr. Farage gave a nice speech and he went to lay flowers. Richard Tice did. It brings up issues around about security for, what's his name? Nigel Farage, which he seems to have security. Justice for Anne, yeah, exactly. Justice for Anne. I think she'll get it. And I think when he goes to prison, he'll get what's commonly known as justice in the real world. I think it will be just for Anne, as so many are upset. It's the ignominy. I can't say the bloody word, but you know what I mean. Ignominious end for such a splendid person. It's almost like they'd gone in and done that to Mrs. Thatcher or, say, Winston Churchill. I've heard a lot of people say a lot of stuff about her, read a lot of stuff about her coming out, and about how she would address an audience on stage and give a speech, maybe for half an hour to an hour. and she'd be electrifying. She'd get a standing ovation. People hung on her every word. And later on that day, you'd see her on her own in a restaurant or a cafe, eating on her own. And it was sort of, I don't know, it gave a certain sadness to think of her living like that. But then again, I thought to myself, aha, this might not be so. Because I'm sure if Anne wanted to eat with somebody, she'd have somebody to eat with. I think, and only because I've got an insight into this, yeah, that sometimes it's really nice to just be on your own. I've learnt that since losing my husband. I can quite happily go into a restaurant, especially my trade. If I am in a situation where I'm on my own and go into a restaurant or a cafe, it's nice for somebody else to cook and to be served, which I tend to go for restaurants that are going to serve you rather than you're opening little bits of salt and little bits of pepper and you've got all these bits of paper all over. So in other words, not spoons. Do you get me, capiche? I much prefer it places that are a bit more, and I quite happily sit and eat on my own. It doesn't bother me in the least. I did actually have a lady buy me a drink once because she thought I was so sad and on my own. But I was drinking lime with water, lime squash. So it's like 37p. I knew I was old when that happened as well. You are really old. She should have had a medal from the king. But then again, look at the nefarious people that have received them. Yeah, because the point people are making is that her opinions and her principles were from another era, and a lot of them were wrapped around her Catholicism or her Christianity. Basically her Christianity and then her Catholicism. And her moral compass, like she did not believe in abortion in any shape or form. That's her business. She's entitled to hold that opinion. Lots of different. She was prison. Was she under secretary for the Ministry of Justice in charge of prisons? And she used to just turn up apparently. So this was in the John Major government. John Major lost to Tony Blair, so it's pre-97. And I think when Tony Blair got in, that's how she was no longer a minister because the Conservatives had been booted out. And then I think she ploughed on the opposition benches till, so that was 97, so till 2010. Oh no, because she became a European MP, didn't she? Or was that after? I know she was into UKIP, then she retired to become a Brexit spokesperson with Nigel Farage, trying to get Brexit done. Do you remember those happy years, darlings? Oh yes, they were such fun, the news in those days, weren't they? If it wasn't for the Markle dropping a bleeding moon bump somewhere, it was Brexit, wasn't it? In fact, Markle was a happy diversion. I remember it well. So, yeah, poor old Anne. And I think she's going to have a massive, massive funeral, which she deserves. Well, it depends on her family, because I was getting to the point that she's got a brother, and I think the brother did have children, which would mean she's probably got adult nieces and nephews, and great nieces, great nephews, whatever. But she seems to have had an extended family that were her family, and were situated in that area of the world, whereas her constituency was Maidstone. Between Parliament and Maidstone, she'd lived a lot of her life sort of there or in the European Union, going backwards and forwards to the European Parliament. So when she retired, I believe, I don't know, I mean, I haven't got a clue, but I do know that she originally was from that area, and her brother was a priest or vicar down in that area. So it's probably a no-brainer that she bought herself a nice little, have you seen it on the news and that? I mean, she had a nice little, manor, didn't she? She did. She had a lovely little manor, lovely little bit of land there, lovely little stipend with a swimming pool and a massive greenhouse. I can't possibly even ruminate for a second on what she could possibly be growing in that greenhouse. I mean, my mind wanders everywhere. I'm sure it was only salad items though, darlings, because good old Anne. But then I've heard people say, well, if someone pushed her away in the house, she would have probably hit them. Not necessarily. At the end of the day, she was a vulnerable woman on her own there. And in that moment, you've got some mental case. I mean, there's probably alpha men that would freeze or panic, let alone a little old lady that did have ability issues. As we could see, she could walk, but obviously not very far and probably not stand for very long. We've all been there, haven't we? It's those sorts of things as you get older, especially if you spent your life standing up or working standing up, by the time you get older, let's say, that really comes back to bite you on the bum. So, right, where are we? Should we move on to done Farage, done all that? What else was I going to talk about? I can't even remember now, darlings. So should we go into YouTube beef? Right, YouTube beef. What's going on with the YouTube beef world? I haven't seen anything from Mexican Madness this morning. I saw, what's the mermaid lady? Did a nice one that I put, well, I don't mean nice, but succinct. And I popped it on my community page for people that haven't seen it. So what happened with the debacle on the eponymous Eric's channel? What are we on? Is it Saturday? Yes, but the usual suspects were being, as usual, psychopathically megalomaniac, and it was all very hurtful. I've read the post with a breakdown of a synopsis of the type of comments, and Bron left out the sexual ones, because we know they do go to genitalia and all sorts of bodily fluids, don't they? They really do go there. So scraping barrels seem to be. Can't stay for long. I'm waiting on a call back from you. Okay, baby, lovely to see you. Lovely that you're here. So yeah, literally scraping barrels, barrel scraping is in fact their raison d'etre. It is their expertise, darling. It is what they are all very good at. They're very, very good at going somewhere where nobody would go, only low-down scumbags. And, oh dear, when the low-down scumbags get there, they're already there entrenched. In fact, they've built themselves an 8-foot trench, do you get me? And they're already firing their poison over the top of it. Horrible. Why does Mermaid have to prove to anyone who she is? They dox everyone that, yeah, no one cares. Oh, don't they think it's me or Bron or somebody? I mean, you know, it's ridiculous. It really is. So where are we? Right, so I've got Jacka Lily. Yeah, so Jacka Lily, I was left some disgusting comment from Jack S. Lily, which obviously isn't you. I knew it wasn't you. And it was a disgusting, rude comment, assuming that I had neither eyesight nor indeed mirrors or eyes to look in mirrors, telling me confidently that I was in fact fat and ugly, and various other things. It was such a horrible comment that YouTube put it in my review. Now I know who it is, I know exactly who it is, and it's somebody that doesn't show their face, and it's a man. That is my synopsis. And if it's Jaws, then we're going to have to start publishing and posting pictures to the contrary. Yeah, yes, yeah, that's that too. Yeah, and they've got one called Mexit S Madness, and they do the same. We don't see who he is. He's another Malice and Viley. He's got to be relevant. He's got to insert himself. But, you know, there is a report button. So when he does leave, threatening, vicious and unnecessary, you don't need to write that on anybody's channel. I went through, I tapped onto the username, and it's recently been changed. I can't remember what it was, because it gives you the name it used to be before they recently just changed it. I'll find out and post it. A bunch of tittle taps. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is that twat. Yeah, but is he an old man? We don't know. We don't know. All we do know is we're not treated to what he looks like. So keep your fat opinions to your fat self. I'm surprised it's not me. I've been everyone on the internet. Probably is you, Ravy. Is it you? I think it is you. Should we blame you? So much fun. Yeah, and the one that was Jack Lily went by handle RMV2. Oh, right, yeah. No, the comment could have been said by Dents. Similar comments, and also very much by Thief. But I can't see, unless it is a direct stab in the eye. I mean, I literally don't care. I'm 5 foot fuck all, 64 years old. I've been pretty in my life. I've always had massive tits, but I was a lot thinner. I use my whole, visually, my body, myself, my being, my aura, whatever it is I've got, for people to laugh with or laugh at. I don't need to be continually reminded that I'm overweight. And if you met me in real life, I'm not nearly as overweight as some of the people that you actually bow down to and pray at their altars. He's a creep. No, I like it. Yeah, just a dirty old man. But, always remember, ladies, the report button is a thing. The report button is a thing. Yes, I just started hearing the music from that show. Yeah, brilliant, Steptoe. Yeah. Tried to change my name back. YouTube wouldn't let me. Oh, no, it only... Yeah, you've got to keep it for so many days, haven't you? Is it 2 weeks? I can't remember, because obviously I don't do that sort of thing. I think it's 2 weeks or a month, and then you can change it. Yeah, because I have gone through periods before I had the channel when I'd call myself... So I called myself... what was it once? Charlotte Corday, who was the assassin of Murat, the French revolutionary. Yes. I liked it for a while, and then it got a bit passé, so everybody just thought that was my real name, because people are pretty thick. I have had mine for a long time now. Yeah, I've been Gerty Rood since 21 October. I think it was October the 12th or October the 20th, 21, something like that. I know I started it about a fortnight or so before my husband was diagnosed with cancer. I know that, and it got us both through that really bad winter. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, but anyway. Right, so the synopsis of the comments that were being left were beyond the pale. They were being left by Thief, who's got no room to talk about anybody, about anything. I'd like to just go back. Should we have a gospel? Shall I give you a eulogy? No, it won't let me send. Perhaps there's some with my name already. It's probably because the algorithm has picked up that people are using that username, and they're just putting an S in it, or some numbers or letters after that, whatever. You know what they're like, right? But this is what they're doing, and I would say report. In every live that's done, when people leave disgusting comments that you find offensive, or that you fear somebody else might be impacted by in a emotional, mental, psychological way, that they should be reported, because there is no reason to be saying the disgusting stuff they say. Thief. About a woman half your bloody age, you old boot. And she's gone over there to ruin his channel. And of course, I give it a listen. Julian Oettingen. Yeah, I give his last one a listen. And he was talking to... Is it Mr. Hunter? Is it the man I call Mr. Hunter? I'm not sure. But they were talking about old mobile phones and pagers. So because it was replay, I didn't see the chat. And then to read when they were talking and having a perfectly nice conversation about back in their day and a bit of history of technology, the old brick mobiles, the original brick mobiles. Then it did drift off into rug dealing. So then I sort of clicked off and didn't go any further, because that's just so passé and boring. Nobody wants to hear about that, darling. I'm a member of political chats. I really have to go back to a name people know. Yeah, you just keep you can keep this one, babe, because just keep your identities and personas separate if you're on different channels. It's nobody's business, babe. And if they make it their business, they can fuck right off. Well, she's right in her synopsis. I do rather think that Dents wasn't a victim. She did throw herself head first and prostrate herself, or sacrifice herself on the altar of La Fifarina. She did say, come and lick me all over, Fifarina, and you can come on here and say and do what you want, and you can bring all your little peasants and your little minions that are going to use the M word and the C word quite a lot, and tell everybody, well, rant, basically. We know, spit bile, and generally be a bitch. There you go, I've said it. So, and unnecessary as well. There's no need to be like that. If you can't, just talk. You don't need to. But I think Fifarina is mental, because I could be a bitch and repeat something that I got off the late husband. I could say something, but it seems that she's always been more than a handful, and I think when he was around, he polished a turd. He sort of doused her down every so often, or bought her another box of bloody wine to shut herself up. But we do remember that she was, whenever he spoke, she used to barge in, didn't she, and talk over him. She reminds me of a man because men do that. Men always do that to me. I remember many conversations. I'd be the only woman, and like my husband or whoever it was, be talking to say a friend or a couple of friends, and nobody. Do you know what I mean? I'd say something, and it was like I hadn't spoken. The light just clouded over, or I'd start to speak, and then all of a sudden, my husband would jump in and go, "Oh yeah, and another thing, blah blah blah." And I'll tell you the worst thing, and one that really used to wind me up, is when I'd tell him something when we're on our own. I'd say, "Oh, such and such and so and so," and he'd be like, "No, no, no, that's not right." And I'm like, "Yeah, if you think about it, such and such and so and so." "Oh no, no." Anyway, a few days later, I'd be with him. He'd be in a conversation with somebody, and he'd repeat what I'd said to him as if he'd thought of it. Boom, that's a mad thing. Mad thing. Men are like that. Young men are like it as well. Just speak over you and don't care. Disrespecting. But you just... I mean, with me, I couldn't be bothered. I was too old to be bothered. At any rate, when my husband was happy, which was usually when he was surrounded by people getting lots of attention and entertaining them, I was happy. So it didn't really bother me. I've come into my own more since I've been on my own. But I very much was his plus one. It wasn't like the me show. It was the him show everywhere we went because he was somebody. And I was the plus one. I mean, my neighbours didn't even know me. I never, he was the one that knew everybody and everybody's business as well. He'd be chatting. He was just a social person, a social butterfly. And because, hello, darling. Hello, Sheila. Kookaburra. I like bronze kookaburra. And because he'd been brought up the youngest of 8 older sisters, he interacted very easily with women. You know what I mean? It wasn't a big deal. And that's where we were simpatico, because I interact very easily with males. Because of my background has been working with men and only bringing up men, bringing up boys, bringing up men. And then I ended up with one grandchild who happened to be a boy. So I don't think, I mean, it'd been lovely, I wouldn't have minded either way. But I'm not sure what I would have done if he'd have been a girl. I'd have been all fingers and thumbs. I wouldn't know where I was. She would have had me wrapped round her little finger because I'd never brought up a girl. So I'd be going along with everything, Whereas with a grandson, he's at I was going to say arse end, but the last of a long line of teenagers that I've brought up. So when he tries anything, I'm like, yeah, right, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Move on. I've often said to him, "You do know I wasn't born this age, don't you?" Shit. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, she used to talk over him. He was bloody henpecked. I've read a lot of comments where people are like, "Oh, he was really interesting. I really like listening to him." It depends what floats your boat. I think a lot of men would just wanted to listen to him, but were put off by that old harpy, always butting in. But she's very good at being a bitch. You see, she's very good at being a bitch. But she's a one-trick pony, where the only thing she can do is be a bitch. And from what I can glean from Mexican Madness's posts, thank you for that, darling. Sorry, I've got a croaky throat. Abdal Farouk. Piss off, Abdal Farouk. Yeah, she is a horror show. She's directly where she should be as well. She would have grown up to be a La Fifarina. Yeah, definitely. Well, I think she was already one, to be honest. She wasn't even the apprentice, she was the past master. What was she, 17? Oh, she was a bitch on bleeding steroids. Enabled by yes people around her that, worshipped at her altar and ran her beck and call. And her sister was more or less just ignored. Which often is the sort of weird dynamic. And I think also, I've said it before, her parents, I think, I don't know how to articulate this correctly, but I think their obsession with Mackenzie was the glue that kept them together. There you go, I've said it. If it wasn't for that, I think one or the other would have wandered. That's my insight, listening to their interviews. I can't get enough of it. There's so much more. There's a freedom of info, so much more. Yeah. Well, she's not getting out for a very long time, and she's where she should be. She's a right little bitch. And at the end of the day, She did it, you know. And people can think, well, yeah, but it was a confidence of youth or the whatever of youth, you know, a moment of madness, a folie à deux, whatever. You can say what you want, but you still got two boys there that were denied their God-given right to a life. So why should she be out floating around being a right little slag, which basically she was. But quick as a flash, she was in with the ladies, wasn't she, when she got into the penitentiary? Oh yeah, because she one of these types that we use whatever to grease her own row. Well, where are we, Mr. FIFA's always reminded me of Cuckoo. Yeah. I think it was very succinct of Brexit madness. Is it? No, Brexit Unmasked. She thought she was getting psychological study and raised. Yeah, she was enabled. I mean, I've seen things where she would ring him from another room and say, "Bring me this now," to her dad. I mean, I'd bring it, I'd open the door and throw it at her, talking to me like that. Who the hell are you talking to, madam? You know, but they enabled it. They buzzed off it. It was almost there. You can imagine when I've said before they went out for meals on their own, or a small amount of time they were on their own. They probably sat talking about her. They were her biggest fans. They were her cheerleaders. They were, she was their homecoming queen in all but name, because I don't think she was homecoming queen. I think her parents are happy where she is and not their problem. I think now, but I think, no, I think they're still pandering to her. Because you've got that YouTube channel that does the phone calls, prison phone calls. I don't know how they get them. But they get them and play them. And you can hear the parent, the mum, she just, oh, God. Yes, my garden is full of the bloody things, my little native birds. Past high school, she got other people to do her work. Yeah, didn't she get her boyfriend and her boyfriend's friend to do her work for her? Exactly, just entitled narcissist, malignant narcissist. She would have probably grown up to be a right crazy bitch and a handful. She's the sort that would probably, at some point in the future, if her parents had stood up to her, have off them. She'd have been one of those people. You know, you get those in America, don't you? Kids just kill their parents. No. I love birds. I love birds too, I do. Yeah, I love birds. So does Babs. Luckily, the birds don't love her and are far quicker. So where were we? So we're back on that. FIFA Arena. Yeah. She did henpeck him. And people were interested in his vibe. What he did. What did he do? Military stuff. Flying aeroplanes. Did he do guns or something? No one knows. Anyway, people that like watching him for him, and she couldn't accept that because their life was a her show. And that's very much borne out cyberly, because wherever she goes, it's her show. It's not her channel, but it's her show. And everybody licks her and sucks up to her. It's only because they don't want to be us. They don't want to be bullied by her. They don't want her to dogpile them. So they're like, and they take apples to teach her as well. I've just found this out. I just found that out. And of course, it's all bullshit. I mean, they are to research what I am to ballet. You have 15 birds baths in my... They're having a bath together, darling. In your garden, Sheila. Isn't that somewhat de rigueur? Oh, it's in America. They all hang out. Are they naked? My God. I can't believe this. Note to self. Birds all in a bath together? Well, I never. I have a fountain at the front, and you can see them bathe in it. 50, that's a lot of clear. Yeah. I found out to my detriment as well that when you leave all the food out, you get all the consequence of the food everywhere. Pipsy's memes of Lafifa are hysterical. Yeah. I don't get the 9 foot one though. I don't understand some of them. To be honest, I don't. There, I'll put it out there. I don't. But I mean, with Fisher's, you don't go to where she goes with people. Oh, you're Australia, aren't you? No, I got you muddled up. Sorry, babe. Yeah, it's Ellie Mae, isn't it? I must go and have a look. Who is she ragging now? Well, everybody, go on Brexit Unmasked. Sheila, you sound like my grandma. She always has birds here. Oh, American Bluebird. Yes, they are, aren't they? You're right. Yeah. We were talking about this, I think it was Friday, saying that we haven't got as many, wild birds as, say, when I was a kid. back in the Victorian era. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, anybody that can do down women in the way that she wickedly does down women is just a disgrace. It's just, she's not happy to just say her piece and articulate her thoughts. She's got to really debase them. She's got to really humiliate them. She's got to pick them apart sexually, even their genitalia. She is disgusting animal. And then it struck me, isn't that just like Atalanta? All those Atalanta posts. I believe that when Atalanta 23 finished it in 1st of July 24, I believe the subsequent Atalanta was her. There you go, that's me. I've said it. And if you don't like it, sue me! Because I ain't got a pot to piss in, you old boot. And even if I did, I wouldn't give it to you. So, where are we? She needs to be off social media. Because the comments I read were psychopathic. Nobody talks like that. You know, commenting on every facet of Michelle's looks. And then you've only got to remember the vitriol she had for Naomi, for daring to stand up for her autistic son. When she's never off the bloody cyberweb. Is she? She's never off there with the camera glued to her mush, giving it all the lemon. Everybody's got to know her opinions. Nobody cares. We're finished with birds now, darling. The cockatoos have gone. They've gone. I don't know where they've gone. I think they might have flown away. But so that's where I am with that. I think the Atalanta Arcadia username is Pigman, but I mean, I don't care. Just ignore him. He shouldn't be on here anyway. He's banned. She loves herself. She really thinks she's so important. She's not bad. You need to go over and read the post on Mexico Unmasked of the Bron breaks down, and she leaves the sexual ones out. That's the bad thing. That's the bad thing. She left those ones out. And you read what's left. They're disgusting, degrading. Her encouraging it as well. Leaving all these disgusting things. But Bron's pointed out, or somebody pointed out, I don't quote me if Bron, it might not have been Bron, but somebody pointed out that you can report lives as they're happening. Obviously not me, I'll be asleep. I die of boredom. But if you do have an interest and they are mentioning people's genitalia, you can actually report as the live is going on. It gets too bad, they pull the plug on the live, and that was one of them. That was definitely one of them. But of course the chat's gone now, so you know, the time was they used to leave the chat, but they don't do it anymore. She's yeah, she's just a fucking wicked bitch. Sorry to my French, but I mean, you know, encolé, you old boot. But clicking on their names, yeah, but you'd be on fire, because it seemed like everybody. It was like a dog park. It was like a gang. It's targeted harassment. It is illegal, you know. And Gibraltar is British. You can report her. I'd bloody report her. She's never off reporting everybody else. Especially when it's threats. When she's threatening. I read one where she said, I'm coming for you to somebody. And I swear to God I'd get on an effing plane if she said that about me. I swear to God I would be on that freaking plane faster than you can say Jack Robinson. And yes, I have got my passport. It was out of date. But that was last year. I would be straight on that plane and I'd front her up. And I'll tell you what, there'd be a catfight. Do you dare talk to people like that? Who the hell do you think you are, you maniac? I mean, the thing is, nobody likes you. If you knew what people said about you, everybody freaking hates you. You're a bloody melon. You're a lemon. You got your little coterie of weak little cowards that suck up to you. You're a bully. What you did to Alex, what you did to your grandchild, you're disgusting. You shouldn't be on here. And then you got over there on that American one, whatever, Derek, yeah? And you're giving it all the lemon over there as well. And then here get a community strike and lose his channel, like Dents did. And she's playing on borrowed time, because as soon as the everything picks up that that's her voice and that's her back when she's banned, she'll be off again. Just like Wally was. Ridiculous old cow. But that's where I was driving to. The commentators were saying that they'd read her comments on her channel because she's got nowhere else to run to. She started having to surreptitiously discuss us on her channel, yeah? And apparently the commentators don't know who she's on about. And some of them are saying, well, don't tell us if you can't tell us what you're talking about it for, if you can't actually tell us what you're on about. So you've got to remember that some of those subs she's got are long-term ones from Wally, who just chatted in an amiable and warm way about things and was easy to understand and easy to click onto where she was coming from. Oh, she didn't dissemble, she just said what she thought, which was her downfall, sadly. But, I mean, it was ridiculous saying that about the tomatoes. Everyone knew she was being metaphoric. No one believed that an old lady in Cardiff that uses a mobility scooter to get to the shops, yeah, was going to get in a mobility scooter, go to London and throw squashed tomatoes at bloody Baldy Bazza, or as I like to call them, Hank and Skank. Yeah? It's just no, but yeah, well, yeah. So she was only being metaphoric, she was being comedic, and she should have had somebody arguing that for her, but what she did have was a gatekeeper that swooped in, took over, took her subs, self-appointed spokesperson, and then, yeah, ruined her fucking life, or the end of her life. They don't get oblivious to who she's talking about. Yeah, but she's a dickhead. I mean, why is he called the king? That's her. Oh, you're the king, you are. Can I sit on your throne, Derek? Rancid old bat. And I mean, I've been up there. Obviously, she can't do a post where it's not about me, because she's now, what is it? Obviously, that stupid meme where you've got me and Bron talking to Michelle. And she's so fucking thick. Me and Michelle don't even like each other. She doesn't like me. I don't like her. It's mutual. You know, what she did to me, I can't forgive. But, and here's the but, and it's a big but, as they keep reminding me, a very big but, yeah? I don't have to like somebody to commentate on the zeitgeist of what is happening in the social world and the culture that has been created by La Fifarina and I was going to say band of merry men, but they're not, are they? Most of them are like Escape from Weight Watchers. They talk about me. See, I've got photos. I know who these people that hide behind their things what look like. And I'll tell you what, they make me look like bloody Twiggy. So they need to shut the fuck up. Excuse my French, I'm effing and jeffing today. I never watched Wally. I thought she was good for a lot of people too. Yeah, she kept the home fires burning during a bad time. I mean, there wasn't a lot to choose from because we were, you know, shackled. I see a lot of big YouTubers were desperate for content, desperate, especially ones that their income is made through giving interviews and having people round or going to their place and interviewing them. I don't know whether they'd actually grasp the concept of StreamYard. Maybe that wasn't around then, I don't know. But that would have been a thing, wouldn't it, when I think of it? So I'm talking about some of these massive YouTubers that seem to sort of self-destruct during the lockdown. They seem to lose their shit. They did, but we won't talk about that now. Derek has the hots for Scammerbell. Well, she's a very attractive woman, Scammerbell. I've seen her in real life. Her meme is generous. You know, the avatar is very generous. But I've got a video of her in real life, and she is a very attractive woman. She's got a very big ebon point. You know what that is? She's got skin, nice hair, no wrinkles. Don't look like a ball sack. Do you get me, capiche? And she's fit. Do you get me? She's not a bad woman, actually. I do like Scammerbell. I christened her that because I thought I was being very clever. Scammerbell. So the fact she has a husband doesn't bother him. Well, it doesn't bother any of them, does it? You've only got to look at Jaws. Mind you. Oh, God. I actually feel... If it's true, which I doubt whether it is, I actually feel sorry for the recipient of her dubious charms. I'm with you. Yes. Yes. You don't have to like her. I'm just literally commentating on it. And I'm definitely not in her bloody ear. And anyway, she wouldn't listen to me. I've been the last person. She never listened to me this far. And I've been right all along up till now. Never listened to me. She's not going to start listening all of a sudden, is she? You know? I wouldn't want her to. I've had people contact me and say, well, can't you stop her? I'm like, I've literally got no influence whatsoever with her at all. You just, what? I'm not everybody's granny, you know. I do me over here. I'm Gerty Rood Studios. Um, but it's going to carry on. It's going to run and run and run. She won't lose her channel because she's just a snidey little bloody snipe. But this is a woman. Let's go over the gospel according to Saint Gertius of Rudius here. That did in fact arrange for her own parents to be burgled. I don't know whether the fine Miss Gotti, say off the top of my head, or the other people of the very highly esteemed Booby Mooby Tooby, whatever they call themselves in America, where they do have their own homegrown, what one might call proper real criminals, and also what could be described loosely as gangsters. Because you usually find that gangsters really love their mums. They do. Only got to look at the Crays or Al Capone. Yes, they did. And Ma Baker, for instance. Yes, they love their mothers. And the one thing you don't do is shit on your own doorstep, you old boot. So that was a thing that did happen. That is out there in the zeitgeist from her own lips. Sort of problematic. So there is that. And also the picking on people's children. That would be really quite, what could I describe it as? Awkward. Especially if certain people were signposted to certain other creators' shorts, let's say, when newborn babies were used. And let certain people make up their own certain minds about the nefarious bleeding piece of old trash, eh? Before she gets over and ruins them as well. But, I mean, behind the scenes, I'm saying it's nothing you can do. You let them get on with it. I don't care. It doesn't affect me. You can only tell them if they're not going to listen, let them get on with it. Fuck them, you know. They end up getting a community strike or this or that, and then they're just like, I mean, stupid Dents. She had two that I could identify. Yeah, and I won't tell you how I knew, but I knew, right? And then she'd slowly forget, and then she'd get back on the wheel again, and next thing you know, she's lost her channel. But what she lost it for, she didn't need a strike to lose. She would have just had the plug pulled because of what was said was so evil. It was so evil, so illegal. It was hate speech, you know, nuclearized, that they just pulled the plug. Did she get free? She had two definite. But as I say, I think the one that she, in the end, she would have just lost the channel anyway. So she deserves everything she got. But no, people come. Let's have the stories. I mean, yeah, exactly. She is attractive, similar age to us. Well, that's why she doesn't like Naomi, because Naomi is a couple of years younger than her. And the venom that she spouted about a woman that's done her no harm whatsoever, she's got to be slagged off because somebody in Dubai fancies her and Thief in Gibraltar is jealous. Thief, well, even Stevie Wonder could see he wanted to F her, if you remember. All said with vitriol and venom. Oh yeah, because he doesn't want to F you, darling, definitely. Well, not in that sense anyway. We'd all like to F you, but not in that sense, not in an actual sense. I'd definitely like to F you. Straight into that marina, you big mouthed old bat. Vicious. God, if I knew back in 20 what I know now. But there you go, retrospect is a land far away, darlings. Not far enough away. Oh, hello, Sarah. Yeah, it's not moving. My chat's not moving, darling. So we remember to everybody to be we're always very polite here. We don't have any nastiness here. We don't talk about disgusting things. Unless it's me, which I get to say old boot quite a lot. And anything else, because she can't seem to get through a day without getting Jaws to do a meme of me in some respect for some reason. Stupid bag. They don't even know. They thought I was Sue Smith. She would scare off the fishes. Yeah, the dolphins. They'd probably pack their bags and move, wouldn't they? Hey, old boot. Probably poison the whole bloody harbour. Oh, well. Anyway, I mean, there's a lot of vitriol in there to come out. What is her problem? I think she's always been mental. When you go back on her backstory, she's always been a liar. She's always been a thief. She's always been a con artist. The lies, I mean, it's compulsive and manipulating. We're all getting to see it now. I mean, I could see it before you guys, but she would just literally take a situation that Didn't happen. Nothing like that happened. And then she'll retell it with tears in her eyes. And she's the victim. She's always the victim. It's become the thing. I think she learnt to take her dirt away and sit on other people's channels and be vitriolic. So, yeah, she's got it coming to her. I mean, you can't get away with behaving like her forever without some sort of retribution raining down upon your head. She reminds me in a way of Hitler, in the way that she's now, before, she just invaded Poland, considering my background is partially Polish, darling. Paternally, yeah. Paternally. Well, maternally, yeah, is Polish. So let's just say, anecdotally, that she invaded Poland, and it was okay because it was just Poland. But now, a year on, we've had the Battle of Britain, haven't we? We've had the Battle of Britain. We've had the siege of Stalingrad. We've had the bloody, whatever they did, Monte Casino, all that crap. We've had it all. And next thing, we're going to have the Normandy landings. That's going to be it. That's going to be it. And then she's going to be kicked into touch, yeah, and told where to go, and go away forever. Hold your peace. But if you are going to hold it, can you hold it quietly and in private? Because we'd rather not be treated to any more of your peace, darling. We've all seen your peace far too much across social media, sweetheart. Yes, and Google, Pinterest. We've all seen them, and X. Yes, we've all seen those things. I used to report them, and I said to her about them, I said, oh, they're disgusting putting those up. So cool. Oh, she said, they don't bother me. She said, I'm quite proud of them. I mean, hello. Isn't that something you just do in the privacy of your bedroom? When you're not obviously a model, sweetheart. Do you get me, capiche? You might have been in your own lunchtime, but nobody wants to see that. And then, of course, they did rude images of me. I was given to believe it was Ren, but I'm not so sure it wasn't her, because I didn't know anything about these images. Guess who told me? Come on, starter for 10 class, hands up. So there was rude AI images, pornographic AI images made of me on X and Bron. It was me and Bron, which I've got the images, which were made of me. I didn't know anything about them, but I was informed. By who? Who do you think informed me? Starter for 10 class, come on. You know, she's just a little cow. I don't believe anything she says because she lies and lies and lies and lies. And that little act she did on Eric's where she was pretending that she, I don't know, Maria von Trapp. Oh, I'd just like her to leave me alone. I'm a victim. She's been after me for ever such a long time. With no context of what she's done. And I remember her telling me, right, she said, no, I didn't say that. Well, it's up to you whether you believe me or not, but this is my truth, and it's my channel. I was talking to her about Meltdown, because again, I didn't know who Meltdown was. She told me. Hell's Games, whatever her name was at the time, I can't remember. Yeah? I didn't know who it was, so I listened for a minute and thought, yeah, whatever. Yeah? She told me she's a nut job. She's a nut job. She tells people that she's a member of Diane Spencer's family. So there's a bit for the history books. And of course, I straight away knew that Misha was a nut job, because who goes around when you're an American pretend, oh yeah, I'm related to Diana Spencer? It's yes, completely left field. As I keep telling you, I've forgotten more than what I know. Most of the shit comes back to me coming through in waves. Her lips move, but I don't hear what she's saying anymore. Thank God. So it's a bit like that with Eric. I can't listen to him. Where is Watcher? I love Watcher. It's sad that somebody took it upon themselves to pretend to be Watcher, because again, that's disrespecting. They're very high on disrespecting women. They haven't really done him any harm. I mean, has she done anything to harm him? It's very easy to just come on and slag off a woman. I mean, I've had it all the time. I get it all the time. Why would anyone want to be a relative? Exactly. That's live from... Yes, of course. Yeah. Of course, sweetheart. Yes. You're only coming through in waves. Your lips move, but I don't hear what you're saying. When I was a child, I had a fleeting glimpse out of the corner of my eye. I turned to look, but it was gone. I cannot put my finger on it now. The dream is gone, the child has grown, and I have become comfortably numb. There you go. I won't do any more. So yeah, poetry. That's I love poetry as well. Lyrics, good lyrics of poetry. So there you go. But yeah, I'm comfortably numb. It's like I said on the thing. I'm just used to what they do to me now. I just laugh because it's just so fucking pathetic. She should be saying I did the Prince Mac robbery or something next. That'll be the next thing. Oh, it was her fault that she did something. Oh yeah, I was the one that flew the plane into the Twin Towers. I mean, it's just she comes out with the biggest load of shit. Watch the clip hundreds of times, Gertie. Oh, I used to have the album hundreds of times, and the cassettes, and then the CDs, and then the DVD, and now I just watch it on YouTube. I haven't listened to music for a very long time. I sometimes put music on my community page, but it's not that I listen to it. Yeah, I love Pink Floyd. Yeah, Roger Waters has lost his shit, hasn't he? He's lost his shit a little bit, hasn't he? To be fair, he has. But yeah, he's very earnest in his beliefs. Yeah, of course, Led Zeppelin. Yeah, we're gonna do this again, aren't we? We're gonna do this again. I wasn't really into any of that prog rock. You know, like the Jethro Tull and all that nonsense. No, leave me out of that. All around my hat and all that crap. No, move on. Thank you. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley, sage, rosemary and thyme. Who's that? I've seen them as well. I've seen them at Glastonbury. The original group. I can't remember who they are. They're gone. Yes, most of us sold their soul. Yeah, the prog rock sort of went a bit over my head. Apart from like ELO, people like that, they were all right. Some of them were all right, but a lot of them weren't. A lot of them were trying too hard to fit in the genre that wasn't really theirs. So yeah, we're back to that. I think I've done it out. I think I've said too much. If I'm honest, which you know I am, I think you'll find I probably said far too much. Yes. Yeah, I like a bit of that. Always reminds me of being a new mum. Because I used to play that when I was a new mum with my little newborn baby. When he was having a little sleep. Yes. The, what's that? You know the one I mean. Bridge over troubled water. When you need a friend, I'm standing right behind. Like a bridge over troubled water. So powerful. It's such a powerful sentiment. I like that. Always reminds me of my son. Is what's it called? Snow Patrol. If I lay here, if I just lay here, would you lie with me? Just forget the world. Beautiful, beautiful song. Absolutely beautiful. And the lyrics are poetry. I prefer lyrics that come across as a poem. You can read them as a poem. She has shares in Moderna. Who does? She's another one that's not what she portrays. Right, I'm going to have to go back. A lot of them do, darling. Who are we talking about? Who shares in Moderna? Oh, Dolly. Oh, Dolly. Jolene. A lot of them do. I mean, I'm sad to say, but it was Moderna or the other AstraZeneca. Yeah, if you look at the shareholders, Prince William, Prince Charles, people like that. Sorry. You can look into it yourself. Obviously, it might be holding companies. It might not actually be him, like who's got them, because people manage his money, his acquisitions and his investments. That's how it works. So it's the same with the Catholic Church. They're similar. They're invested in a lot of hardcore porn outlets and producers or production companies in America. Say California, because they're nuts. Doing the most disgusting, filthy hardcore porn. And when they traced the money, it went back to the Vatican, which was quite disgraceful. But it was done under the umbrella of an investment company investing on their behalf. But you need to be more responsible if you're going to flap your gums. We're back to integrity again. How much money do they need? Fuck knows, I don't know. Dolly is quite partial to injections. She's 80 odd, didn't she? Her husband recently died and she's been with him for years. No, I don't. Well, if they did, we did have 2 cases of cancer in the royal family. So, if that is a thing. because nearly everybody I knew got cancer or just dropped dead, or had what's the other thing, like a blockage. What do you call it? And it, yeah, I didn't have them. I didn't. No, no, not me. Do you know what? This is really going to be bizarre, but it's my opinion. When I was waiting, because my husband, once he had, yes, they did, babe, check it out. Once he had the first jab, then as you know, you had to have the second jab, and then the booster on that jab, and then the booster on the, and they kept pumping. And as his cancer progressed, he had to have more jabs before he was allowed into the oncology unit. So I did spend quite a lot of time waiting for him. And because he had cancer, he still had to line up with everybody else. And my mind, being historically an anorak and a nerd, was drawn immediately to the queues you saw of people being led into gas chambers. There you go. That's my opinion. That's what I saw. That's my opinion. And I didn't know where I was because I was in that present time. I couldn't obviously see into the future. I'm not psychic, darling. But it did remind me of it. And the queues would go right up the road. It was in the middle of the forest somewhere near East Grinstead. We were signposted to. And he had to have it on this Saturday because on the Sunday, because he had treatment on the Monday and he'd missed the booster and he'd had treatment. It was just all bullshit, right? The queue went right through this forest and back up onto the main road. And it was all elderly people that were desperate to live. Yeah, it wasn't really so much teenagers or mums, you know. It was all middle-aged onwards people, and they were so vociferous and they were so virtuous, you know, that they were there, they were doing their bit, they were in the queue, they were going to have their jab, they were wonderful. Yeah, a bit, not disrespectful or anything, but my mind was drawn to when they were told to turn up in the town square. Everybody of that particular faith, and sometimes it wasn't just the Semitic faith. It was Catholics as well. It was anybody that basically they didn't like. If they were like maybe gypsies or travellers, or you know, if they were gay people, there was a lot of gay people of both genders, and communists, Russians. If they hated one person, set of people more than the Jewish population, it was the Russians. They treated the Russians, if it was possible, which they seemed to bring into being, into manifest, that it was in fact possible. It was in fact possible to treat people far worse than what they even treated the Jews, and that was the poor Russian prisoners of war. You see, they hated them, treated them terribly, and the Algerians, anybody that wasn't them. So I'm a nurse. I had no choice. Single income, child in boarding school. Oh well, darling. Yeah, well, hats off to you, sweetheart. Hats off to you. Of course, it didn't actually affect everybody. We all know that there was people that probably just sailed through it, but there was also I know people that were in good fettle, fine physical fettle, that had bad reactions, and then letters would be coming through. Where are we on aliens? We haven't done aliens. I keep wanting to do aliens. They were singing and dancing. Yeah, don't even get me going on that. I just hope they're better nurses than dancers. There you go. Most of us were forced to take it. I wasn't. Yeah, I know you did, but Rob, my husband, took one for the team. He said to me, because if I take it, then they'll leave you alone. But it wouldn't have mattered. I mean, unless they'd have come round and pinned me down with a court order, pinned me down, forcibly given it me, I was willing to go up to that boundary. And I was rung at the end, almost at the end of the second lockdown, by somebody from the National Health who said to me, National Health call centre, blah-de-blah, and we noticed that you've never got jabbed, and we just wondered why. And I said, why? You know, my opinions. And she said to me, well, if I was in your situation, I wouldn't have done it either. There you go. So that was that. So aliens is good. But I also spoke to people that were, it was almost like I was a leper. You know? So look at you. I remember this one woman. Oh my God, this one. Oh my God. You did see every part of society. You did see the people that just wanted to be nursed and nursemaided, didn't they? And coddled. So it was the second lockdown. I had to go into a clothing shop, and it was to buy stuff for my grandchild who'd grown out of all proportion during the lockdown. Do you remember you weren't allowed to buy children's clothes or Easter eggs or anything for them? Bloody horrible people. And there was him, Roger and his wife every bloody night. That old thing up there. And all of them, think of that other one. Matt, that Pratt. Matt the Pratt, the health minister. He was rogering someone else's wife, he didn't care. So it was just us, the plebs. Anyway, I was in this line and we had to go in, and there was a bouncer, or security, big alpha male type guy. And as I've walked through, the woman in front of me, some middle-class knobby twat, about my age, maybe a bit older, said to the security guard, "Thank you for keeping me safe." And I swear to God, I've never so much in my life wanted to slap somebody I didn't know, because I'm not like that. But I really did want to get hold of her and just say, "Will you bloody well wake up? It's a cold. He's a security guard. How is he keeping you fucking safe, you daft mare? Get through the door." Stupid bloody people. I was just like sheep. I'm just like, bah, bah. Matt Hancock, yeah. Hello, Alice, darling. Yeah, Hancock. What was he doing? He didn't care. Yeah, it was only us lot. I heard to someone, I think it was somebody in Britain, I think a couple of people in Australia, because I was closely following Australia. Some of my early sketches and my inspiration originally for the channel was seeing the way the Australians were treated during the lockdown, and I did the Cossack guy. I did Dan Andrews, I did Waltzing Matilda, I did quite a bit of commentary on the totalitarian. It wasn't a tiptoe, darling. They just invaded one day. One day they were just normal people, just doing their jobs like police or authority people. Next day they were the bloody Stasi. Weren't they? Bloody stamping all over the place, marching around. Little bit of power. See, that's what Stalin. You get a load of dumb people, and I see this in a metaphorical sense with a lot of these. The people, they give like minimum wage and a bit of a uniform, and then you go around and find people that have thrown a bit of litter on the floor. If you look at the law, you pick up the litter and put it in the bin, you're not fined. But they don't bother with that. They go straight in for the fine, or they try. Obviously, I don't litter, but I've seen it on YouTube and I've seen other places. I always brought up my children that it's far easier to do, it's far harder to do what's right than it is to do what's wrong. And what's right is, using the example of litter, it's so easy just to throw it on the floor. It's harder to sort of put in your pocket and think, right, I'll pop it in the bin. Or if not, I'll take it home, pop it in the bin when I get home. See, that's harder. I like the Royal Tea House. I can't highlight you for something. I like the Royal Tea House. Are they here? Oh, hello, Royal Tea House, darling. Yeah. So, yeah. So, they give them a uniform, and it's two uniforms. If you're big, you get a really small, tight uniform. And if you're small, you get a really big, baggy uniform, don't you? I've noticed that with them. They give minimum wage, and they're set out on the public, and they're thugs. Absolute thugs. Which does very much remind me of the Stasi. And what Stalin did, he gave... Oh, you are here, darling. Hello, sweetheart. I'm honoured. Thank you. He gave people with minimum intellect and less education positions of power, the sort of positions they never in the month of Tuesdays have that role or have that power. So, of course, they're beholden. I mean, nobody's more surprised than them that they've attained that level of power, and they can march around and be somebody on their block because they've got power. If you look into how they worked, the Stasi, that's one of my areas. Yeah. Can you not? YouTube doesn't like me much at the moment, hopefully, or sort of stuff. Why? Why don't they like? Oh, probably them twats reporting you, babe. Just put in a counterclaim. If they start any of that crap, get onto me. I'll help you. I've never lost a counterclaim yet, darling, or a privacy strike, or whatever they're trying to do. I'll help you with. So, and if I don't know, I know other people that will help you. So, yeah, this is how the Stasi worked. And of course, Mao did it. Chairman Mao Zedong, he did it. He didn't care. He was like that. And in fact, what he did, which I see smacks of, especially amongst, let's say, our loving socialist people and the Marxist utopia that we are currently being spoilt with. We are indeed being very spoilt. Is they groom the youth to not to despise older people, to despise adults, and because they weren't revolutionary, they weren't the great leap forward that Mao Zedong was actually aspiring to, and he thought it'd be massively great to. I think obviously it was owned by wireless in them days, no telly, but it was still effective. And the youth did actually go out and massacre on more than one occasion. There was mad, hysterical, dogpiling massacres of elderly people, teachers, professors, university people like that, anybody that wasn't them. And again, of course, Pol Pot. Pol Pot was the same. They use the same script wherever they go, these people. Yes, they do. And we see that cyberly with Thief and her little minions of scallywags. And Michelle is completely correct. A scallywag is scally in Liverpool. A scally is like a wrong un, a little. I think they call them roadmen. Are you with me, Jack and Lily? With common parlance at the moment, a roadman. You know what a roadman is. Well, in my day, it would be a scally. So, and that's a word that derives from scallywag, a Victorian Edwardian word that meant a little naughty, a little bit of a wag, a little bit of a naughty boy, a scallywag. Just, I'm not sure. I'm getting some sound bites of Wally and Ashley as they started it, or used to let them abandon us now. Yes, darling, of course. I loved Ashley. I watched Ashley way before. She was Danger Zone. I did a thing to Ashley when she died on my back catalogue. I did. What did I do? Going over Jordan. I'm going over Jordan. Yes, I'm going over home. That one I did, the full version, as Gerty. Yeah, but I like Ashley before even Megan come on the scene, so we're going back to 15 onwards. She used to do a lot of the child abuse. She used to look into quite a lot of the institutions, historic institutions, of, say, the indigenous children's homes in places like Canada, etc., and the way that the indigenous Indian people were treated, particularly their children. She looked into that. She was very good at that. I enjoyed her. She was an early child abuse, historical child abuse advocate, highlighting what had been going on. And also, it wasn't the fact that it was history, it's not of just that time. What happens is time moves on, and motivations move on, and also raison d'etres move on. So it's the same thing happening, but in a slightly different way. That's what I'm trying to say. Here, mind, so house price and rentals are addicted to. Yeah, well, Dents lives in the caravan park, but you think the way she goes on, she's all fur coat and no knickers, that old girl. I loved her, she was fab. They were both. Yeah. Oh, is she still up there, babe? I haven't been recommended any of hers for years. Oh, I'll go looking for her. Is she Danger Zone? They must have left it up historically for her then. I don't think she was monetised. Mind you, I don't know. I never really give it a thought in them days, I don't think. I was just more spellbound by her knowledge, because I knew a lot of what she was saying, but she was putting the embroidery up for me, because the more you find out, the better. I'd been a big one of what was his name, Allet. What's his name? Allet, the Reverend. What was his name? Kevin Annett. Kevin and Annette. Yeah, he was a vicar. They tried to ruin. Well, they did ruin his life, because he stood by his parishioners. Well, his poor parishioners, which was sort of de rigueur. You don't do that. There are elderly here that are on £700 a week pension, and rent is £700, and they tell them to buy a tent. No! Oh my God! 700 a week. What is that? 700. It's about 350 in our money. 380. I don't know what Australian dollars are, babe. I don't know the exchange rate. I started with Ashley and still watch too. Yeah, she's great, isn't she? Yeah, so channel is still up. Thank you, Alice. Yeah, channel is still there. You under Danger Zone. I don't post the videos. Just get the squaddies. Oh yeah. Well, she ended her magnificent cyber reign in her genre on Meghan Markle. She was one of the early ones with Wally. I know Wally used to watch Danger Zone as well. Yeah, Ashley. We all know. Because I think she was Danger Zone and then she become It's Ashley, didn't she? I think. I'm not sure if something happened and she got, I don't know. Because she was definitely ruffling feathers with her information. I remember one bit of information she gave that she had an interview, a historic interview, I think it might have been Kevin Annett, of the indigenous Indian man who subsequently died. And mysteriously, some might say fortuitously, obviously not for him or his family, a few days before he was due to witness in an inquiry to do with the outrageous behaviour and abuses of the Indigenous Children's Home in Canada, which was very sad, obviously. And she showed the interview. Well, he was a granddad by now, but he was talking about when he was a young boy in these children's homes and how the Queen had turned up one day and she was wearing a skirt with white knee-length boots. You know, the 60s. So like plastic, but not, if you know what I mean. White boots. You know, like they used to do that dancey shit. Awful dancing. Anyway, oh, what a load of rubbish. This is where I was first with it. Not her, I thought him. I thought, what? He must be making that up. I can't ever see our Queen wearing white knee-length boots. From the 60s, it was in the 60s. In the 60s, I can't imagine her being like that. Because I remember how women used to wear those white knee-length boots, or red, brown, green, whatever. They had to be all colours, they were like plastic. But hers specifically were white. Sort of a skirt, usually not usual women, they will wear it with a mini skirt. But the Queen wore a skirt to her knees, obviously, because she was the Queen. And I think by the 60s, she was knocking 40 anyway. Do you get me, Kanish? So, or was she? No, she was 30s. Get it right. So there was that. I thought, oh no, that he must have he's made that up, or he's probably misremembered. He probably can't remember what he probably thought it was the Queen, but it wasn't the Queen. Because the Queen would wear white knee-length boots in plastic. No. So anyway, at some point later on, completely by chance, doing something else in my history endeavours, I come across a photograph of the Queen in Canada in that year, I think it was 67, wearing white knee-length boots. So the guy was right. There you go. So whether he'd seen the photo as a young boy, or this is what you can take away from it, and he's misremembered, or there's a chance he was actually telling the goddamn truth. For whatever reason, the Queen, late Queen, and her husband were at this children's home. And no more than that will I say, darlings. No, not me. Me not stupid. But it's all out there. It's all out there. Not only on Danger Zone, but on Kevin Annett and other channels. It seems to be an urban legend that has come out of Canada. I'm getting all dry mouth. Australia's not the place. Grew up. Well, it's not. Britain's not the place I grew up in either, darling. Trust me. Sorry about my smell. Not slept yet. Poor little brain cell. Oh, babe, you're fine. I can read you. I can always tell what people are saying. Alice. So I'll check exchange rates, but it's all by design. Yeah, about three. Yeah, I'd say about 350. It's about half in it. So dollar's about 50p. Wally once said the Ashley family had control of a channel. I've left it on purpose. Wally once said the Ashley family. Yes, I quite believe that. Yeah, she would have left her wishes. Yeah, she was an amazing lady. She was amazing. Calls it on point, wanted to try to get her channel to 1,000, but didn't want to risk it getting taken down. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's harsh, isn't it? Loved you to know. Looking after it for her. Yeah, it only seems like yesterday, but it wasn't. No, it wasn't. I think she died just after my husband, darling. From the same thing my husband died of. The same year. Like months between them. I'm pretty sure he went first. Because I was on my own when I did her memorial video I did for her. That's allegedly, hope it's true. Did Wally's channel stay up? No, they took it down, babe. And she did have quite a few manifestations of trying to come back. Because she had a very good self-appointed spokesperson that allegedly was going to get her channel back. And everybody believed her. I mean, I wouldn't believe her if she said her name was what her name is, to be honest. Well, mainly because it isn't. Do you get me, Kamish? Sorry to out. So sorry for your loss. Oh, thank you, babe. You're all right. No, you're very welcome here. Thank you. Yeah, it is what it is, isn't it, babe? Well, you get used to it eventually. I've had a tough few years, and I'm still standing better than I ever did. Looking like a soul survivor, feeling like a little kid. Yeah, I got there. I mean, at the end of the day, what can they do? Next thing they can do is come round and do to me what happened to Anne Whitcomb, just for having an opinion and just for saying what I consider to be my truth. The matter is, it is the truth. It's also my truth. I've been downloading Wally's videos from Rumble. Oh, have you? Oh, so she's still got away with it on Rumble. Yeah, Rumble don't care. Rumble don't care. No, we're just going to Aliens, Lola. Well, Aliens, where are we with Aliens? Aliens, whatever they're called. People from outer space. Of course, a lot of the gods, we are being told now, by that bloke, DeGrasse Tyson, you know, that bloke that's always flapping his gums. But apparently he's telling us with a lot of reverence and confidence that many of our gods were in fact aliens. I'm like, no shit. Really? So how many sort of degrees did you need to take before you got to that situation? The underwater thing has been going on for a very long time. That seems to be a real thing. They seem to have, what is it? What would you say? Colonised under the water. There's a lot going on that we don't know. There you go. So I think we've done aliens. Have any of you ever seen anything odd or anything that you thought, ew? Now, we're not talking after you've, mushroom tea, late September, in your youth. We don't want to hear those anecdotes. Please keep those to yourself. But because most people saw quite a lot of things, didn't they? After what they used to call the mushroom tea parties. Yes. Only to be outdone by the Mad Hatter's tea parties. And usually, when I was young, both were the same. There you go. They descended into what blended and became, in fact, the same. No, I haven't seen, but I believe Bob Lazar. Yes. Hello, Claire Bay. Yes. I believe a few of them. There's a lot. It's like even in the child abuse genre on here, and you get these people that profess to talk support of child abuse survivors, and that they're just grifters that are after money, and you get a heavy load of them in the alien world. Yeah, I've got into it originally from art and literature, and historically, and even if you want to start with the Bible, there's a lot of references. I mean, angels coming down from heaven. Were they all on mushrooms? Or were they seeing, in fact, people with wings coming down from heaven? We don't know, do we, darlings? We don't know. It's like they said, the giants lived on the earth in those times. That's another big thing of mine. I've looked into quite a lot over my lifetime. And we did seem to have a giant race, darlings. Like we had a little pygmy race. Yes, we have these little tiny people. And every sort of person in between. And for some reason, the what do you call them? Us. We sort of won the day. We took over. It must be something to do with our brains. But yeah, I think obviously with giants, they probably took quite a lot of feeding, quite a lot of entertaining, and quite a lot of not stamping around in a bad mood too much. But they did seem to be a thing. So what giants were. We're talking in excess of 6'5". So, and what is a giant? If you're 6 foot, a giant probably needs to be about 10. Do you get me? But if you're 4 foot, a giant probably is about 6 foot. And due to diet and everything, people were a lot shorter, were they? Back in the day. Miss some bloody word. Oh, did you, Sarah, darling? I'm back. DMT, darling. DMT. Oh. I couldn't possibly comment, sweetheart. Yeah, never laughed so much in my life. At myself, obviously, you know what I mean? Someone has to work to pay for all the ones that don't work. Yeah, there is that to it. Yeah, there is. Say hi, Jaden. Hi, baby. Hi. I think you're going to have to watch on catch up because we are talking about, I believe in ghosts. 100%. Have you? Don't even go there with ghosts. Don't even go there with ghosts. No. I don't like anything like that. It gives me the heebie-jeebies, darling. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. I don't think I've ever seen ghosts. I used to work in a property, and I was the sole person alone there at night, in charge of like the whole property, and all the people in the property. And it was supposed to be haunted. It used to be an old children's home in the Victorian times, and it was confidently the day staff used to always talk about these ghosts. I used to scare myself bloody witless until I worked out that I'd worked there for like 8 years and never seen one. No matter what time of day or night, early hours of the morning, never saw a ghost. No, never saw a ghost. I did see a UFO. I did see a great big mothership. And then it turned out everybody was ringing the police about it. And it was somebody, this is back in the 90s, back in the early 90s. And they'd done a hologram from the seafront in Eastbourne and put this massive, great UFO. And of course, the 999 was going mental. It was on fire. It depends on me. Who depends on you, darling? Ghosts, their lost souls. I've seen the ones where they say that, yeah, like a Roman road, you know, and there's now a house on it, and they see Roman soldiers randomly just marching by. I swear to God, I'd die on the spot. Yeah, I've got a family member that used to work in a pub in North London, in Cockfosters. Do you know Cockfosters, anybody? Anyway, she used to work in a very well-known pub in Cockfosters when she was at university. And she regularly saw things, but people that would just come in and walk through the wall. Just got used to it in the end. Because back in the day, it had been something, I can't remember what. There's another one, he'd come in a motorbike helmet and just walk straight through the bar. Yeah, straight out the back where they keep the barrels. She's gone to look, where the fuck's he going? And there was nobody there. Yes. And she was as sober as a bleeding judge. Well, I think she was. I'm pretty sure she was. But then I just smiled and used to think, yeah, okay, whatever. Because I've never seen them, but it is her reality. It's her story, isn't it? I've met quite a few people that have said they've seen things. But I might be ghost proof because I've got a lurgy when it comes to ghosts. I have seen something weird flying in the daytime, actually. And luckily I had a professional person with me. And no, it wasn't my psychiatrist, darling. It was a friend that was actually a very highly trained professional person. And we both saw it together. And people said, why didn't you take a photograph? Well, because when you see something like that, you're like gobsmacked. And by the time you've woken up, it's gone. But there's a really haunted pub in London. Oh, yeah, there is. Yeah. There's another one in York. You know the city of York? Because they got the Shambles. It's called the Shambles, isn't it? The oldie worldy part of it where the Minster is and that. And that what way you can still walk on the Roman walls of York, which I have done, darlings, when I could walk better than what I do now. I do love watching ghost movies. Yeah, they've got a good genre on YouTube if you like that. So we're going to go into the ghost hunting genre. They've got quite a few. And they've got those urban people that go into old derelict houses. I went to an ex-site called in North Tasmania. It was very heavy. Yeah, you sometimes feel that with, yes, you do. I know what you mean by vibes, auras. You get an oppressive feeling, which always makes me talk too much. I always get that uneasy feeling that I've got to either disassociate or sort of, do something. Oh, yes, I used to be obsessed with those channels, yeah. What about when you put the radio on, someone that past favourite song comes on? Yeah, that does happen. Did you ever get that, back when we all had landlines, that I'd know who was ringing me? Or I'd know somebody was going to ring me. That I had, random people, because without blowing my trumpet, I did have lots of friends. Hello, Babs. Hello, sweet. She's just woken up. Come and sit down. Come and sit, Granny. Yeah, so landlines, we were on landlines. And obviously I was a bit of a social butterfly when I was younger. I knew a lot of people. And I also worked. And as you know, I took in children and I took in students and I fostered kids. And I was always a busy woman, yeah, which is the best way to live when you're in the prime of your life, isn't it? Keep your idle hands busy, darlings. Sometimes I would get a premonition that someone was going to ring me and bugger me Sometimes it would be within minutes the phone would go, and sometimes it would be like an hour or so. But it was always someone that I was keen on, like a close friend. And I think, oh, so-and-so's going to ring. I think, oh, don't be stupid. Where'd that come from? And obviously then I talk to the person, and they'd be like, yeah, I was thinking of ringing you. It's weird, isn't it? They didn't live nowhere near me either. Yeah, several friends, women and men. Well, yeah, I get that all the time, but the weirdest thing about landlines was being able to hear. I've never had that, sweetheart. Yeah. I used to have it where you pick up the phone for night time and you get heavy breathing. Yeah, so I just used to pull it out at the back. Fuck 'em. I can't be dealing with that. Oh dear, I'm so scared. No, I'm not. Piss off, you perv. Pentridge Prison in Melbourne. I went to a cemetery tour in the city. Lots of famous graves. Ooh. Oh, we got them. We've got them in London. We've got the great graves in London, haven't we? Yeah. What's that? Frère Saint-Pity? Saint-Pity... Frère Pity... Something like that in France, in Paris, is where you've got all the people buried. I mean, the people that were people. Like your Voltaire and people like that. Yeah. I think you got Jim Morrison as well. Have you got Jimi Hendrix? I think because they died in Paris, didn't they? I think so. Don't quote me on it. Jim Morrison definitely is in Paris. Pretty sure. Well, T-Nice, have you not? I used to be able to hear others quite often. No, I used to get it all the time. I got it for about 10 years on and off. But that was how stalkers stalked you in them days. Yeah? It was years later when I was middle-aged I found out who it was. Yes, Jim Morrison was in Paris. Was Hendrix was in Paris as well, babe? Yeah. They're buried in Paris. And then we've Mama Cass. Now, Mama Cass died in London. She died in the same bed, in the same flat that Keith Moon died in. Yes. He died in 78. So he died after. He died after. She died first. 74 or 76. She died. And then, yeah, he died in the Saturday. It was the flat owned by Chris Christopherson, a well-known Hellraiser and rug aficionado of the 60s, Chris Christopherson. And he seemed to be wherever there was that happening, he would be there. I've gone into it. Have you ever been into the Laurel Canyon psyop and all that with the, back in the day, Charlie Manson and the CIA, and it was all to do with the war and keeping a lot of people in jobs. Because there are people that, this is the security services, there is a particular personality of men and women that thrive on working in that area. Yeah, you love Chris, babe. Yeah, he was a Hellraiser like Oliver Reed. And so they need this constant thing, don't they? I mean, they used to infiltrate UFO groups. Why? Don't know. But they did. They just didn't like anybody like having little groups without having them snooping around to see what they were talking about for some reason. Best known only to them. But I mean, they've even given up poo-pooing it nowadays. Before, they would call you nuts. But there's too much now. There's too much evidence out there. And as I say, if you go back in history, in art and in literature, and even in the Bible, you will find constant allusions to them trying to explain something, a phenomena that they couldn't articulate. Or they could articulate, but only in their frame of reference. So now we would call it a flying saucer. In those days, they might call it a wheel. You know, and people that came out of said wheel might have appeared to them to have wings. Where did the word angels come from? Where we don't know. I'm going to have to look into that. I love linguistics. If you can get to the bottom of the what's it of the word, etymology of the word, you find out why it evolved to mean that. I've never known. Was it in the Bible, angels? What define an angel? We don't know. We don't know. We're reading it as a history book. I've always seen the Bible more as a history book, darlings. There you go. And quite a lot of pontificating and preaching. Have you seen Disclosure Day? No, I haven't seen it, but I've heard that. Hi, Anne. Good morning, sweetheart. No, I've heard about it, and people said they snored. Yeah. It's kind of all been done, that, though. If you go back on YouTube, you've got that Greer bloke. What's his name that annoys me? Dr. Geezer. He's a baldy prick, and I can't with him. I'm not really simpatico with him. So you got that Travis Walters, haven't we? That one, he was zapped up. He was zapped up, and then they were all accused of doing off with him. They were, what were they called? They cut down trees. You know what I'm on about, don't you? Them people, lumberjacks, darling. I kept thinking Monty Python. I'm a lumberjack and I don't care. That one. So I knew what I wanted to say, and all I could think of was Monty Python. No, they were lumberjacks, and they were in the in America somewhere, cutting down trees in the forest, minding their own damn business. And he was zapped up when they all ran off, obviously, because this thing, Gerty, you're so right up my alley. Religion, myth, ancient history, intersection. I love you too, Elle. I love your crazy hair because it's very becoming, suits you. Yeah, they had good sense. They pissed off. They shit themselves, and then of course they felt guilty because they'd left one of their people there, and he'd been zapped up into this flying saucer. Well, of course they went back to their little coal mining town or lumberjacking town or wherever it was. In, you know those little hick towns in America you get. Everybody knows everybody, and everybody knows everybody's business. And of course they were blamed. They were like, no, this didn't. Oh, obviously. Now, how do you break that to the townspeople? Where's Travis? Right. Well, I know you're not going to believe me, and I know you're not going to believe me, but what you need to do is sit down, right? And I've got a story to tell you, and it's the gospel truth. It's absolute on the Bible, right? He got zapped up into a flying saucer. They didn't believe them. So it was sort of like police were looking into them as potentially they'd offed him in the forest and probably buried him or whatever, got pissed up and had a fight. All of those variables. And no, then he appeared. He'd been in this flying saucer. They'd been playing with him. They had. That's what he told his wife. And I thought that was a good one. Now listen, honestly, I did. I got zapped up in the flying saucer. I mean, we don't know, we weren't there, but I mean, you know, it's up to you what you believe, isn't it? I always look at things from a comedic, humorist point of view. Do you you have to do Port Arthur at night on your list? Is that I've heard of that. The weirdest one was the fella that was found on a Adamski. Yes, not the singer, not him. His name was Adamski. He was a Polish immigrant that stayed here after the war. He married a lady up north, but he was clean. He was found on the top of this massive, you have to, I don't, our age group would understand, the massive, great big piles of coal and slag that they've, brought up, and it's in a big old coal yard. Well, he was perched on the top in his best suit because he was going to his daughter's wedding. That was what was happening. I don't know what happened. I don't know whether he went out to get a sniff of baccy or whatever. And for some reason never came home, and they found him. But he wasn't dirty, he didn't have any coal on him. He was just on the top of this massive, great big mountain of coal. Almost like he'd been dropped, darling. Now, while I'm here, where are we on cattle mutilation? Where are we on that? Because it seems that people have observed cattle's being wafted. Heifers. No, it wasn't me. It was a four-legged heifer. Being wafted upwards. Yes, into things. He was found miles away from where he was supposed to be, yeah. Yeah, from what I remember, he was supposed to be going to his daughter's wedding. And he sort of went AWOL, like he popped to the shop or something had happened. Or off down the working men's club for a drink before it. And he was found on the top of this mountain of coal. But, I mean, the most mysterious thing was there wasn't a mark on him. And his clothes were clean. He was done up for a wedding, so white shirt, nice fit. His feet had no coal on it. Yeah, it's a slag heap. A massive hill of coal. Yeah. Like that one that went down in Aberfan. Do you remember do you know what I mean? That one. Was it Aberfan? Yeah. Aberfan. No, it wasn't. I'm sure it was Aberfan. The disaster with the coal. Because they used to build them so big. And then when it rained, it all got slippery and everything. And it went down and covered the school and killed so many of the children. It was over 50% of the children of the little village were killed in that one event. I saw a memorial to that disaster, which was 1966, I believe. And they had a memorial in a park in Torquay. Because after the terrible event, the children that survived, the good people of Torquay arranged for them all to be taken from Wales in a charabanc for a free holiday to Torquay. And they were given, you know, it is nice talking, and it's probably past its best nowadays. But I can imagine back in their day, it was amazing, and they were really treated like celebrities, and given a really good holiday, which is what they needed after that experience. I'm a fan. Yeah, it's horrific. If I had time, I would tell you creepy about that. My mum predicted it. Well, that is weird, isn't it? Did she know of Aberfan? Had she ever heard of Aberfan, or was it a general? She because you do get people that, like, there was people that had premonitions of planes flying into buildings before 9/11. I mean, I didn't, obviously. I was thinking shit. I have had premonitions in my life. I had a premonition. I won't tell you actually, but I have had premonitions. But me being me, I just think, shut up, you old bag. Don't be so stupid. And then when it happens, I think, oh my god, that was weird. I knew that was going to happen. Even like about the phone calls. But people do have premonitions. I believe in that. Psychically, people tune in. I mean, I'll tell you another thing that's very interesting. We could do a whole show on this one, right? I like Simon Pegg. Paul. I love Paul. I love that film, Paul. Yeah, it was really funny. It's very well made. I love it. I love Hot Fuzz as well. Yeah, they were funny in their day. Yeah. I like the girl with the wonky eye. She was a famous actress, wasn't she? I can't think. Was it Claudia Schiffer? I can't remember who it was, but it was somebody, it wasn't just a bit part actor. Deja vu. Premonition is when you foresee something. Deja vu is when you think you've been somewhere before. Yeah. You go in a place and you know in your actual literal memory that you've never been there, but you already know where you are. And going on past life, the past life experiences, I believe that we do pass down our. This is because I have past life experiences. I know people like my husband had out of body when he was in a coma. He had a major car crash in the 70s, and was in a coma for like weeks in hospital. He nearly died. Had to rebuild his face and everything afterwards. He was never the same again. So it's before seatbelts. And like a fool, he'd let his girlfriend drive. Yeah? Do you get me? And she hadn't passed her test. So he went straight through the windscreen and hit head on a tree. She was released from hospital the same night. She was fine. But he was in a coma. So he was in the passenger seat. So he told me, and I believe him, that when he was in this coma, he was flying above the ward. He could see, in those days, right, the wards used to be, beds each side with a nurse at a table, doing the reports, doing the whatever they do, the notes. At night time, you would have one night nurse on duty, yeah? And he can specifically remember hovering above the ceiling, and he could see what she was writing on her book. She was writing reports, but she hadn't moved from the bed. Do you get me? I've also had nursing staff as friends. Yes, I had an out-of-body one. Nearly dying as a child. Yeah, I'll tell you my one. I died on the operation table, yeah. Yeah, I did that factually as well. But I've got friends in high sort of medical positions. And when I told them my medical out-of-body experience, they're like, oh, yeah, I've done that. Like they could tell there's a book on the top of a wardrobe when they come round, and like the staff are like, how the fuck do they know that? It's weird. It is weird. I think what I had to stop driving myself completely mental. Giants with red hair. Yeah, the giants with red hair, Sarah B, were a thing. They were a thing. Yes. Patagonia. Shaun of the Dead. Yeah, I love Shaun of the Dead. Yeah, I just watched that on Netflix not long ago. I thought it was hilarious, but my grandson was bored. He was like, yeah. I mean, if it's not like an Iron Man doing something marvellous, or like it's shooting a spider's web out of its fist, he's really not into it. Or like something like Star Trek. What was that like? Yeah, what was it like? I always remember it's a Girl in the Garden movie. It was take me a while to remember the proper title of it. The Girl in the Garden movie. I don't know that one, baby. I'm not really a movie person. If I watch a movie, it has to be, funny or historic. And a lot of the lately historic things, I mean, I've never watched The Crown or any of those crappy programmes because they just drive me mad. The Evidence of Prediction, Futility, Wreck of the Titan. Oh, so you give the Titanic 14 years before it happened, and the author did not know he was predicting anything. Hey, that's weird. But I'll tell you another one. Have you heard about that Trump book that was written at the turn of the century? A bloke called Trump was going to be president of America, and he had a son called Barron. You're like, how did that happen? Was it Lovelace? No, that's somebody else. I can't remember who it is, but look into it. It's true. You're like, how did you know? Or is everything preordained? Is the script already written? And when you see people that seem to be protagonists, they're not. They're actually being paid from the same purse, darlings, and just playing a part. We don't know. We don't know. We can speculate. Where are we here? Stuff in theatres, have very careful what they say. Yes. Yes. Yeah, when I've been under anaesthetic, I've been gone. Yeah. One of them is I did flatline. I flatlined, but I didn't know. I mean, I was quite happily gone. I don't know where I was. But my son came to me and he was holding my hand. I could distinctly feel him. And when, because they had to put a more thing into me, like a drip, whatever it is, to dilute the anaesthetic, I suppose. And they had to do the heart thing. I didn't know anything about it. I was blissfully away with the fairies. But I was so happy to see my son. I was so happy. And because he died when he was 25, he'd be 40 now. But he didn't seem to recognise me because he had a really serious face. And I mean a really serious face. And he was never serious. Never. He was always laughing and mucking about. So I thought, in this dream state I was in under anaesthetic, I assumed he didn't recognise me because I'd got old. Because I was young and thin, you know. And I said to him, his nickname was Pip. And I said, Pip, it's Mum. It's me. It's Mum. And he just looked so sad and so unhappy. And he held my hand. And when I come out, anyway, blah, blah, blah. And then the anaesthetist said, God, we lost you for a few minutes there, blah, blah, blah. And she said, what were you doing? She said, you kept throwing your arms up in the air. I was trying to hug my son. I didn't tell her that. I didn't want to be put in the funny farm. I just said, I don't know. I don't remember anything. But I did. Do you know what? I felt so weird. He'd literally been there. He'd been there. I could feel his hand holding my hand. I could feel him. I could see him. I couldn't understand why he was being so serious. And all he kept saying to me, it's not time yet. It's not time yet. And I didn't understand what he was on about. I thought he didn't recognise me because we usually, had a laugh. And that sort of relationship. I was so happy to see him. And then when I came round, he just sort of drifted away. And I remember the nurse saying, are you all right? And I'm like, yeah. I'm not going to say, well, my son's here. I think I'm mental. It does happen. There's so many things that we don't know about. And there's no good near-death experience where people experience hell-like place. Never had that, babe. No, I had the one with my son. Maybe he looked sad because he wasn't sad. But he kept saying, it's not time yet, it's not time yet. But the thing is, he was holding my right hand and I could feel the warmth of his hand in this state I was in. It wasn't a dream, it was real. I could feel his warm flesh on my hand, holding my hand over the top of my hand. And it was lovely to feel him holding me. It was lovely to feel him being there with me and the heat of his skin on mine. Now, when I woke up, I really, it takes you a little while, a couple of minutes to come to. I realised that there's no way he could have held that hand. I had a cannula in the top of it and it would hurt too much. Because like when you get old, you haven't got much skin on the top of your hand, have you? If he'd have been gripping my hand like I knew he was, right, it would have hurt like mad. And it didn't. So I don't know what that was about. All I could think to myself is there is stuff we don't know. We don't know what we don't know. And sometimes it's just best to live for the moment, isn't it? To live for the moment. Yeah, it was sad. It was lovely. It was lovely just for him to be there. I hope when I do go, he will come and get me. I definitely don't want my mum. She can piss back off to hell. She can. You don't want any of them, do you? Eh? The wrong ones. Unless you got a nice mum. It should be come up if you Google it. We hear about the positive ones. Really? Yeah. Well, I suppose if you have been zapped off to hell, you're not really going to be going on about it too much, are you? Because it's like sort of tells its own story, doesn't it, darlings? How scary, best change their ways. Yeah. Well, yeah. It does. It's sort of. Yeah, I suppose. That's the only experience I've had. And I did have a premonition when he was a baby. I did. But I was only young. I was like 22 years old when I had him. and he was a new baby, and I was feeding him. Stupid gormless, like you are, thick as shit when you're young, aren't you? Daft as a brush. Thought I knew everything, but knew F all, really. You know, we all like that. Young mum, feeding me baby, and all of a sudden from nowhere, and it was like a bolt, that's all I can say, it's like a bolt going through my body. It came into my head, just these words: one day he's going to break your heart. And I thought, fuck. You know, have you ever had that? And I haven't even thought it. It's just there. I'm like, what the hell's that? Where did that come from? It was so scary. It gave me like heebie-jeebie goosebumps. And obviously, being a young girl, I just dismissed it and thought how stupid it was, ridiculous. Until 25 years later, he was in critical care. They were discontinuing his treatment, and I remembered the premonition. Whether the two meant anything, I don't know. And it's funny because I did our ancestry, and he looks exactly like two of my ancestors, and both these ancestors died in their 20s. There you go. One was in the early 1920s in Poland, and one was in the Regency times in Austria, which was Poland, I think, at the time. I don't know what we call Poland now, but wasn't. All I know is I've formed the powers that, I'm not coming back. I'm not. I'll go handcuffing myself to my cloud. Yeah, I'm not going through this shit again. I don't want to be a Buddhist where you get reincarnated. Thank you very much. I've had enough. Where are we on past life experiences even? Because I tend to believe in that as well. But the way I've reasoned it over the years is DNA. I think there's some people that you do inherit DNA. And it might not necessarily be from your near parents, grandparents, or great-grandparents. It could be somebody, way down your family tree that's got nothing to do with you. I can remember my past life when I was a little girl. You usually stop remembering it by the time you go to junior school. So I would have been three, too young, 4, 5, 6 sort of age. And I clearly remember being a young girl. Yeah, with piss. I had loads of kids and nothing to feed them with. And I think I died. Yeah, that's all I know. But they can remember where they live, they can remember their names, they can remember everything, If you go into it, there are people that have got really salient view. And parents think, the hell are they getting this from? And then with our technology, you could get in and look into things, and they're right. They're like random people. But the only thing is that some of the experiences of people that have recounted literally aren't related in any way to the people they used to be in this past life. So obviously my DNA theory fell short. Falls flat. I was at an evening event at the War Museum, felt spooky as fuck, like being watched. Yes, it's the Bedlam. Yes. What, the Imperial War Museum, babe? Is it the Imperial, where they've got the Winston Churchill thing going on? Because there's quite a few in there up there. Yeah. Say, man, good ideas. Sloan Bella. She's great. I like Sloan. She's been around for years. Anyway, I've been on for 2 hours, so I'm going to let you go. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. I think we're going to have to explore aliens more. Giants. Patagonian giants. There was a race of very tall white people with red hair, and they were actually genociding. This is back before... I heard Riley, I had a Riley, W-R-Y-L-Y, Riley had a grin at Lady C because she was talking about my biggest regrets, and she agrees with my biggest regret as well, is the what was it? What did they do? Destruction. Let's just say destruction. The Library of Alexandria. That had everything in it that you could have passed down to generations. I mean, I think it was done by the Christians as well as the Moors. They were called Moors in those days, darlings. So I don't know whether they'd found peace be upon him at that time. I'm not sure. It was before all that era. So in the Roman era. About that, yeah, it was about the time with Antony was doing Cleopatra one. Ancient ancient Greek apparently means a messenger. Yes, that's right. Of course it does. I'm so dumb, aren't I? Yeah. But it's been twisted into meaning something else, doesn't it? Yeah, and of course, if somebody's coming out of the bloody sky, yeah, I knew that. Why didn't I? My brain is because I'm so old. Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, but they are using words, articulating words from a bygone time. And we've got to remember, with the Bible we have, it was changed by James the First, wasn't it? James the First of Scotland, no, of England, and sixth of Scotland, wasn't it? Yeah, he was a little bit crazy. He was a little bit crazy, in a nice way, and he did like his pretty young men. He did. Yes, the prettier the better. He used to call him his wife, and play with his codpiece in public. Now, don't have a pop at me. That's in historical record. There you go. And his wife didn't care either. And to be frank, I don't think I'd care. Have you seen him? There you go. So anyway, we've had 2 hours. I love you and leave you. Thank you so much. Thank you for all you lovely people, creators, commentators, viewers, subs. I love you all. You made my day. And now I've got to go and do some hoovering. It's back to the grindstone. Yes, my day off. I've got to do something. I've just got him back to school. And do you know what? He finishes Friday. And I'll tell you another thing. Because they've been wearing their own clothes, I only put him in shorts and a t-shirt. Got him up to the academy and everyone was in their uniform. I had to bring him all the way home, put his uniform on, dash him straight back up there again. But I said to the teacher, I said, it's my fault, literally my fault. Not because he doesn't care. I'm like, well, what did they tell you? So I don't know. He doesn't listen. So can you just try and concentrate? Be kind to yourself, Pete. Be very kind to yourself. Stay away from the skanks and the tramps. Yeah, don't let people bully you. Okay? And hopefully I'll see you here Wednesday. Love you loads. Thank you, Tea House. Thank you, Anne, Sheena, everybody, Sarah, Julie, love Sarah, love Sheena, Mike Nola. Where would I be without you, darling? Anne, you're a blessing. You're a blessing to me anyway. What did I do? Oh, I've said the Royal Tea House, haven't I? I've forgotten anybody. I said Sheena, Ali. Oh, if I've forgotten you, you know I don't mean it. My brain's just fogged up. I'm old. I'm 64 nearly. Right, love you and leave you. Bye-bye.